here are 3 things that you should never do as Killer in Dead by Daylight. Part 3. Number 1, you should never be toxic in endgame chat. There's literally zero reason to ever be toxic in the chat. Even if you feel frustrated and felt like the survivors were bullying you, don't give in to your frustration. Just say GG and move on. If you start being toxic in endgame chat, you'll only get more frustrated and it'll tilt you even more. Even if the survivors started it and instantly start shit talking you in chat, just say GG's guys, was a fun match, and move on. They're just trying to get a reaction out of you, and if you let it get to you, you're just gonna play worse and worse. You can also mute the endgame chat by clicking on this button here, which completely hides it until you click it again. Number 2, you should never default to putting survivors on your nearest hook. In most situations, this is your best bet simply because it just saves time and has less risk of survivors body blocking to get a survivor off your shoulder, but you should not be doing this 100% of the time. Look around to see if there's a hook that could put the survivor in a worse position. The easiest and most obvious example of this is if the basement is nearby. If you're playing someone like Bubba or the Huntress, who are both extremely strong at playing around the basement, it's totally worth it to spend the extra time carrying the survivor down there. A less common example could be a hill spawning on the edge of the map with the entrance of the hill facing toward the outside of the map. If you spend the extra time to put them on this hook, that means that survivors not only have to go all the way around the hill to even attempt to save, but they also have to take fall stagger if they jump off the hill, so both of these situations can help you get free hits. Number 3, you should never slug without intention or information. You may have heard from a lot of content creators or other people that slugging is extremely strong and a very good strategy, and while yes, this is true, it's only true when you do it properly, and most people, especially newer killers, do not know how to do it properly. Slugging doesn't just mean downing people and never hooking them for no reason. There should always be a reason that you're slugging. For example, if you have information that a survivor is nearby and you're in a dead zone, then of course you should slug the survivor because you can easily down that other person before the slug makes any meaningful progress on the recovery bar. So now you have 2 downs in the same area, which means that the 2 other survivors on the team now have to stop doing their generators and come towards you. On the other hand, if you know that there's another nearby survivor, but they're near a really strong loop like Shack, it might not be worth slugging the first survivor because by the time you chase the survivor at Shack and down them, the survivor you downed probably got picked up already. This is another thing where you'll have to make good judgment calls and just requires you to have experience on when and when not to slug, but the general rule of thumb is if you think you can down someone or even get a hit before the other person can finish their recovery progress, then it's a good idea to slug in that situation. If you want to see the full video, come check it out on my YouTube channel.